Hey students, I wanted to go over our last 4 tasks for the Spotlight Facility Project. Essentially, this is the remaining part of our class requirement and rolls into the final. And so there are 5 new tasks, test 5, 6, 7, and 8, that are in your folders now, along with a SWOT analysis template. So I want to run through a few key things in each one. For task 5, similar as we've gone through before, anything that has an actual checkbox you need to complete. There's a table in task 5 as well. So first step, you and your partner need to brainstorm everything you've collected so far. So this is your online presence, your initial visit, if you've done a second visit, your interview notes, and any other impressions you've gotten along the way. It's basically compiling your information into the SWOT template. Step 2, you're actually going to use the template that I've given you. So here's what it is. You'll put your names here, you'll put your facility name, and you'll just start adding in information, everything that you've been talking about just now into strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat. It's your draft of it, essentially. Then in step 3, after you've gotten that filled to the best of your abilities for the visits and the interviews you've had so far, you do need to do these next stages. 4 topic areas, issues, or aspects of the facility that you need to follow up on, what you'd like to see in greater depth, ask questions, or ask some issues of. And this is a repeat. It's the same thing, so I'm going to take that out. There you go. And so you'll just have to fill in this table. So give it a general theme. Maybe it's member management. You want to see how do they keep track of all of their members. That's your question. What do we want to know? How do you keep track of them? Where's their contact info? What if you want to send them all an email about a new program you have? And then why is that an important question for you to know or to follow up on? So 4 additional areas after you've looked through that SWOT that you've made of what you need to dig into more. And then step 4, you're going to head over to Canvas. Both of you will do this individually. So these 4 areas to follow up, one of you will take 2, one of you will take the other 2, and you will complete the discussion post and the peer comment assignment that's listed there. So original post on 2 of the 4 topics, and then you'll comment or address on a peer's post. So that's task 5. So it's a few items here to go through. It's using the SWOT analysis template, filling in the table essentially, and then jumping over to Canvas for the discussion. So we'll get rid of those 2. Next, for task 6, this is your last site visit, just your prep. So 3 things you still want to know that really could only be learned on the job. So that's aspects that are specific to their business, something that you really can't learn in class or out of a textbook. And so you're going to identify or review, you're going to add in the 4 areas you just identified that you're going to ask, the 3 new areas, aspects of the facility that you'd like to see, have access to, or view, or at least ask to have that. So this is really, these 7 things are what your visit's going to consist of. Pre-visit task, confirm your final date and time. You'll have to actually fill that in here. Your visit objectives, list prepared and accessible. So that's having these 7 things printed out and accessible for you. Do your final visit, ask those questions, learn as much as you can, from your objectives. And then take some notes so that you can review these notes later to update your final version of the SWOT, and then your presentation for your final report. And then post-visit, so like you've hopefully done so far, thank you communication to the owner, operator, any others who gave you their time. That's fine if this is just a quick, text, hey, thanks so much for letting us come out tonight, or email. But now that you've done your last visit, you won't be out there anymore, at least for this project. I highly, highly, highly recommend you do a handwritten snail mail note to just say thanks for the time that they spent with you. That is a highly respected way to show appreciation still in our industry, and I recommend you do that. If you want to further your relationship with the facility, you got to continue to check in, send them messages, send them emails, schedule site visits on your own if you want to maybe have this as a potential internship site. It's not going to bode very well if the last they heard from you was from this class, and then a year from now that you're asking them for an internship. And then start to consider what's your plan for your final presentation and the summary report. So your timeline, expectations, what you want to start to include. That really takes us into step 7. So step 6 is just preparing for your visit, getting your 7 objectives of what you're going to ask or find out, and actually doing it and thanking them. Step 7, this is our presentation. So our final is Wednesday, April 24th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. If you want to come in early, highly recommend it with you and your partner to do a practice run through on your own. Make sure you're on the same page, but going through this prep step will help you. So things that you need to include, this is all required information that needs to either be included or answered in your presentation. So photos, whether they're ones that you grabbed from their online-based sources, internet, Facebook, webpage, that kind of thing. Include their branding, their logo images on your slides to some extent so we can see that. Mission and purpose of the business. Explain the staff. So who's their main staff? Maybe it's a diagram of their structure that they have. Share your opinion of the essential principles that the owner or the manager lives and operates by, what the philosophy of the gym might be. Types of their programming and their services. What do they even offer? You don't have to share the entire SWOT up on a slide, but pick a few key elements from each area, and you can tie that into what really makes them successful. That goes back to what their mission is. So what makes them successful at accomplishing what they want to accomplish. Next, go back to your interview notes. What are 3 to 4 really key things you would love to share about the person that you interviewed, about the business itself? If you had to talk this gym up to a client or to a friend, what would you say? What would be the general types of, support that you would give for people to go to this gym? And then what's your interest would you each have in working or interning there? What would draw you in? What's not so much there? And then critical feedback. Here's the thing, all of these areas that you have to accomplish, you need to have something that's an example. So of like the training philosophy and essential principles, maybe they have a philosophy on their website, or maybe you pulled out some of the philosophical areas or principles from the interview. Give an example, a quote that the owner said, or maybe it's something that you can see on their website that continues to exemplify their mission or their purpose or their philosophy. So everything here, the presentation has to have some element of needs to be explained through an example. You can't just gloss over information with general statements. Then anything else you'd like to showcase, any other themes. And again, the presentation doesn't have to have a slide with each title of each of these things. Put it into themes so it makes sense. As long as you're hitting all of this content and doing so and the other expectations are met, you'll be okay. Presentation needs to be maximum of 10 minutes. It needs to be visually appealing. So there needs to be more photos, images, and keywords than text. As little text as possible. You should be saying the examples. You should be sharing the quotes. Unless you're quoting them or something from their website, you should not have paragraphs or full sentences at all. These are all words, keywords, maybe a few sentence fragments. Some additional expectations. So your presentation, essentially, it should be a summary beyond what I could just find out from this gym by going on their website and social media. Don't give surface level information that anyone could just figure out from going to their website. Give as many, again, examples. You need to illustrate any general or glossing statements. That's going to be where, if you're worried about losing points on your presentation, that's a main area. If you don't have an example from your visit, from what they've said, from their interview, from their programs, from their just the observations that you made when you're watching them and do their thing, that's going to be an issue. Make sure you're confident, loud, and clear in your verbal expression. Your visual display, so that's your slide, this should be in line with the facility's branding. So see if you can try and match up some colors, use a similar type of theme that the business tries to exude. You don't have to have the exact same font, but try and align the messages that are trying to be sent. And then you need to dress in physically active professional. So basically it's the types of clothes that we ask you to wear, especially on your first visit. Step 4, you're going to create presentation notes. This is what you're actually going to say. What's on the slide isn't what you're going to say. So you can either add your notes, there's a space in the Google Slides, or if you want to have a separate document, say slide 1, here's what we're going to say. Slide 2, here's what we're going to say. That's fine. You just need to have it accessible either in your Google Slides or that separate document should be in your folder so I can see it. That's where you write out words, script, whatever you're going to say. It just doesn't go on the slide that we see as the viewers. And then you'll have to do a pre-presentation check-in list. Who is in charge of creating each slide, topic area, theme, and who's going to be speaking each different slide. After it's all created, what still needs to be tweaked or cleaned up? Are there any formatting or aesthetic aspects that need to be adjusted? And then doing it a trial run. You need to practice it at least one time, you two together. How long was it? What did you need to still fix? And then you'll do your actual presentation in class. And then after class, there is a self/peer review on the presentation aspect. And so you will do that on Canvas, and that is after. So that's task 7, that's basically creating the presentation. And then task 8 is your summary paper. So the presentation is in class on Wednesday. The paper is due Wednesday at midnight at the end of the day. And then your self and peer eval I just mentioned, I give you a little extra time to do that after the paper is done. That's due by Thursday at noon. So you're going to type your summary paper directly into this template. You each have one. So you're going to type in your name. All the listed areas that are here need to be addressed. This is something, look at the syllabus for the writing expectations. So that means you are writing in full paragraphs, full sentences. You're using topic sentences in your paragraph, support sentences, grammar, spelling, everything needs to be there. Same as in the presentation, you can have some crossover. Any general statement that you make, say, this is a really great gym. Well, you need to give some examples of why it's a really great gym. You'll download this template once it's all filled out and you have multiple, it's likely going to be multiple paragraphs underneath each theme. You'll download it as a PDF and that's what you'll submit to Canvas. So that is our step 8. Few last things to go through the theme areas. So name, introduction. So it's kind of the who, where, what, why, how. Your first impressions, that's you and your partner or you giving summaries. How do they carry out their brand, mission, and purpose? Any unique aspects of the business that set it apart or can help it differentiate from competitors or other gyms that are just out there. This is a big one. Inside information, especially from the interview and your observations. At least 4 of the more important topics are Q&As that you got answered with your owner. You're going to give a summary of your SWOT. So the SWOT will have to be uploaded, your final version. You're not going to copy and paste anything in here, but you are going to, again, select some of the key points and narrate them out into statements, into sentences. And then finally is what grade would you give the gym in each of the following areas? So A through F, meeting the need of its population, keeping members engaged, their business model or plan, their systems and operational structure, and an area of your choice. So if you haven't gotten any information, for example, in any of these areas, your last visit, make sure you ask some questions about that. So that's our summary paper. It's essentially taking a lot of the info from your presentation and now you're just writing it in a narrative format. That is it.